Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 11th episode of On the Couch with the Dogs Board. And we are here with a special guest. His name is Keyshawn Lathier, but you all may know him as Cortell. He's a rapper, producer, writer, music director, amazing video editor, and entrepreneur. But I'll let him introduce himself the way he would like to.
Thanks, Diamante. I appreciate it. Sorry, Dr. Clark, I should say. My name is Cortell, and like Dr. Clark said, I produce my own music. I rap, I sing, songwriter, business owner, entrepreneur. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it, I guess.
Yes, sir. So to start off, because I know many people would like to hear this, how did you get into the field of hip hop?
Music has always been a part of my family's just culture, and it's always been around. I grew up just with music, from my uncles to my father to my mother. So music has always just been in our veins, in our bloodline. I initially started writing poetry. Actually, that's how it really came about. I used to write poems, and as I was writing poems, I would listen to music, and writing poems was one of the ways that I can express myself. And one day I was just reading one of my poems and listening to a Kid Cudi song. I'll never forget the day. I was listening to a Kid Cudi song, and I was reading one of my poems, and I was wondering what it would be like if I put one of my poems on a beat. And from that day, the connection with instrumentation and lyrical ability was born.
Wow. I know you remember, or at least have some type of faint memory back when we were younger, when we met each other.
Yeah.
I knew you had an amazing love for music and music making, because I remember you had some type of Apple laptop that was extremely advanced, and you had a whole lot of music that you had downloaded, and you knew so much about hip hop history and culture. It was just amazing to hear you talk about it.
Yeah, around the time when we met, I guess I can say I was a little bit more advanced in the knowledge of the things that I knew as far as hip hop when it came to it. Wow, that was so long ago. But yeah, at that time it was just a love for me. You know, music itself was just something that I had really picked up on, and I'm sure for everyone who feels the same, like music is just an outlet for some people. And so when I was younger, it was my outlet. So of course I wanted to know and learn more about it and really have fine-tuned information when it comes to music. And over the years and throughout the years, I would say I've just gotten more knowledgeable with music and hip hop. And I even to this day, man, go back to rappers and jazz artists and all different kinds of artists, you know, beyond hip hop now. But I go back and listen to all the artists who kind of had a staple in music. And yeah, it's just grown over the years.
Wow. That is amazing. So I would like to ask, because I know some of or really a lot of our viewers and listeners may want to know, so how did you come up with the name Cortell?
So Cortell is actually my middle name. And when I was going through deciding what I wanted my name to be, I had like 2 or 3, but I know Cortell was one of them, and I know Aries was another one. Those were the last 2 names that were competing. And when I was thinking about how I wanted to, when I was thinking about the name that I wanted to use for myself, I had in mind like other artists like Kendrick Lamar, Drake, because at the time those guys were heavily influenced, and my I would listen to them a lot. and Lil Wayne also, and Kanye West. And those guys used their actual name, and they didn't have some, off the wall, something crazy for their name. And when I heard a record by Drake, and one of the things that he said was authentic, real name, no gimmicks, no game, no scrimmage, I ain't playing with you in words at all. And when he said that, it kind of like resonated with me, like, yeah, like Drake's real name is Aubrey Drake Graham. And I took some of those, I guess I would call them teachings or learnings, and I applied it to myself because I want to be as authentic and as much as me as possible, especially for the listener. When I feel like when people listen to my songs or my sound, they'll really get a glimpse of who I am as a person. So I decided to go with Cortell, and that's how that came about.
Wow. So now that you actually said that concerning songs, one thing that I see is that you are masterful at recording and really filming and editing your music videos. Because how many have you made it total now?
Oh, man. I'd probably say it's been a little over 20. Let me actually check real quick. Because I have a lot of videos that are on my YouTube as far as the music videos that are privated, due to, certain reasons and just growth. But I'd say it's a little over 20 videos.
Wow. So since we're on YouTube as well, I've noticed that you have quite a few YouTube channels, and all of them have a specific purpose and variety. What essentially incentivized for you to start YouTube in the first place?
Man. Well, when you're, I guess what really was one of the influences were, well, when we're younger, we have dreams to do a lot of things, and one of my dreams when I was younger was to be an actor, and it still is. So I created a YouTube channel to where I can do skits and sketch comedies, and and wanted it to essentially grow into like a channel where I'm, performing my acting and doing things of that nature, and that core television came out of that, simply just due to the fact, like I said, I like to act. I like the theatrics, and that's how that one came about. I have another channel on YouTube. It's All Day Gameplay. And it's a gaming channel, and who doesn't love video games, man? I was at the point where I was playing video games all the time and watching other gaming artists on YouTube and different platforms, and I was like, you know what? I'm watching these people do the same thing that I'm doing. Why not just do the same thing? If I'm playing these video games, I can play these video games and have funny reactions or funny content available for the people who like to watch the game. So All Day Gameplay came about, and out of all the channels that I solely own, or I am solely on, those two, and of course my main channel, Cortell, for the music. So like you said, they have their own purpose, and they all really just came about from me just wanting to, do the things that I enjoy.
Actually, as young black men, that we may not have the same, I would say, resources or time to do certain things because of, the world we live in. So it's always interesting and amazing to see you put as much effort and quality, because to be honest, the quality of your music videos are superior than many AAA label artists and companies' music videos that they actually make. So that is amazing. Your talent, because I remember the music video you made for Move. That first time I saw that, I was like, he has a true talent at not only just the music, but the cinematography of the music video.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Move is a little bit of a different story. So with Move, I actually had some help with that one. I actually hired a guy who's a really nice guy, and he helped with that one, with the vision come to life. In most cases, or not most cases, in some cases, there are times when I do want to give other people opportunity, you know, and I know I can, I know that I can do things on my own and by myself, but in the world that we live in, it's really a lot about networking and being able to reach out to others. You know, I totally believe that if you can do it on your own, do it. But two is always better than one, or a multitude. Right. When people come together, it's usually a greater outcome. So with the Move video, that one was one that I directed. But I had some help in the film and the editing department. I let someone else take control of that one, and it turned out really nice. And I appreciate the compliment. Thank you for that. I like the way that it came out, and as the views are rising, I see that other people are also enjoying how the song and video came out as well. So I'm proud about that one too.
Yes, sir. So going back to one of the previous questions that I asked, especially since you had such a love of certain hip-hop figures as you were growing up, and especially still now, who were your main influences outside of the individuals that you named?
Oh, okay. Well, when I was getting more into music, I can name one who I haven't named. Eminem. Eminem was a heavy influence. I've always liked how Eminem put together words, and from Eminem, I always found that fascinating. There are also other people outside of hip hop. I've always loved Johnny Cash. Believe it or not, some Elvis. He was a pretty big influence too. Let's see. Michael Jackson, of course. This was all when I was younger. So when I was a lot younger, my mom didn't really let me listen to a lot of hip hop, you know, due to the vulgarity in the music. Growing up in a religious household, so I didn't really have that much room or freedom, I'd say, to listen to a lot of hip hop, you know. But as I was getting older, that's when a lot of my hip hop started to grow. Jay-Z also is another inspiration as far as the hip hop music culture. And outside of those and the ones that I named as I was, you know, growing up, those were really the ones who were heavily impactful.
Right. When you mentioned Eminem, the first thing, or one of the other people that came to mind is the hip-hop historian, also known as King Scythe. You know, he's part of the Dogs Board / Dr. Clark's Interns, and, you know, he's a rapper and music creator as well. And Eminem is one of his main influences. And it's always interesting to hear so many people mention Eminem, because he has essentially made history in different ways in the eyes of many people. So it's actually very interesting to hear you mention him as well.
Yeah, Eminem is definitely, I would consider him definitely one of hip hop's top. But there are so many different, you know, top tier hip hop artists and hip hop historians that you can't really put them. I don't really have a top 10 or top 5 for a lot of artists, because a lot of different artists have different impacts at in people's lives at different times. Like I can say Eminem back in his prime days, or the 2000s, was more of the Eminem that I resonated with versus the Eminem of today's time. So I wouldn't be able to say Eminem is top 5 now, for me. But for someone else, he could be top 5 in today's age. But Eminem definitely has always had an impact in his storytelling and, like I said, the way he put together words. And he just had a good team behind him with Dr. Dre and D12 and just everything with Eminem at the time when I would listen to him. And I'm talking the Stands and My Fault and, things of that nature. It was just different back then.
So, as a creator, one of the biggest things is support. It's hard to get in certain ways. It's very easy to get in certain ways. So, would you say that you get a decent level of support from your loved ones and the different communities you may be a part of?
Yes, I can say that I do. Especially when it comes to my family. Your family, and I hope that in more families, a lot of people accepts and supports what one's aspirations are. Because if one's aspirations were to just go out and find a regular job or be a regular, quote unquote, regular civilian in modern society, they would be supportive of that. So why not be supportive of something that is, that suits that person? And my family has really always been supportive. They don't judge me based on my decision making as far as me wanting to be a creator or an artist or things of that nature. And as a young black male, that's actually really something that helps me continue to move forward. And I also believe, due to the fact that, like I said, the music is just in my family's veins. Because of that also, I think that they are much more supportive in that aspect. And as far as the communities go, when it comes to the community level or people around the world, I want my reach to be global, worldwide, because I know that the message that I have is whatever message that I preach, I know it's coming from God, and so I want my level to be global so people can hear what I have to say. Because if I'm saying what I'm saying to connect and reach people, it's a godsend. I don't right now. I'm just working my way to that global level, but within the communities that I have my music out and places that my music has reached, the level of support is there from what I see. I do know that people want more out of me as far as the music and more out of me as far as the things that I create. And it's just nice to see. It's a progress, and as it builds, a lot of things become more noticeable. So I'm excited.
Excellent. So, because I heard you mention God, and one thing I always notice is that whatever walk of life people choose, or whatever even religion or dogma they choose, I always love hearing their passion for God, their God, or the true God, however you deem it to be. And God is something that I see you really talk about it and push within your work, which I love hearing that. So how has your religion, your walk of life, really impacted your artistry?
Oh, man. It's actually had a large impact, believe it or not. I'm actually working on a project now that's going to be out on all streaming platforms soon. And it's called The Wandering Soul. And it's pretty much, I don't want to give too much about the album, but during this journey on the album, we will be able to determine, or we will be able to see how much spirituality and God plays a factor in the Wanderer's life. Because like I stated, I like to keep my music as true to self as I can, and I feel like that's when it's more relative. But God has played a large factor in my creative process, from me finding God to losing God to believing, not believing, spiritual awakenings, all types of things. I have songs on songs and all different forms of just creations where there's some form of reference in God, and I don't like to push God on people, but it's one of those things that I believe, and I believe that God is within every single one of us as an individual. So why not be able to exalt Him through ways where people can get a little glimpse, but not be overtaken by it, especially if they're not comfortable with it.
That's very well said. So overall, and this will most likely be my last question, overall, what do you think the state of the hip-hop culture is now, in your honest opinion?
Oh, man. I can say that hip-hop has changed, especially hip-hop on the commercial level. Hip-hop commercial is now more so about melodies and trap sounds. And I respect everyone's hustle. I respect everyone's grind, and I respect everyone's, willingness in the music industry. If you made it and you're at that point in the music industry, then, I respect it. I respect you, and I'm not going to ever talk down on, someone else's craft to an extent. But there's a lot of what I can say. There's a lot of music where I can definitely say is not the best. And, but as time shifts, things also shift. And we're just in that age right now where hip hop is all about melodies and trap sounds. And it's gonna get oversaturated. And when it does, that's when the real will step in. That's when guys like all the group of guys in Dreamville, like, they're amazing. Earth Gang, they're some pretty amazing artists too. And that's when a lot of their music will start to resonate more, commercially. Because after a while, we'll get tired of those, that, I call it ratchet rap. That's what I call it. With the melodies that are all the same, the tempos and the beats that are all the same. After a while, people who are listening to that will get tired of hearing it, and that's when the shift will happen.
Wow. The way you put it, I couldn't imagine anyone else saying it better. So, with that being said, before we close, do you have any questions, concerns, statements for me, viewers, or anyone else?
Let's see. Question for you.
Yes, sir.
How would you say that this interview went?
To be honest, this is, I would say, one of the better interviews that we've actually done.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
And a question for the viewer. Are you listening to The Wandering Soul? Have you heard it yet?
So, yes, for those listening, please look at or listen to The Wandering Soul. Yes, sir. But if that is it, thank you, everyone, for listening. And if you hear this on any of our streaming and download platforms and YouTube, please like, share, comment, subscribe, download, stream. And also, please go follow Mr. Cortell's musical and entrepreneurial journey on his social media platforms as well. But again, with that being said, Dr.